Your academy for spiritual awakening.
David, I know in some of the higher level teachings in the academy, you teach about the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. Share more about that.
Okay, this is terminology that we understand because we understand numbers. And of course we know that's the language of the universe is numbers. Everything is geometry, sacred geometry and all that. So it's good to use these terms to communicate on at a third dimension level. The first thing about third dimension actually comes from Einstein's idea that everything has height, width, and breadth that we see through our senses. Everything that I'm looking at right now has 3 dimensions to it. So I live in a third dimensional space. Now he added fourth to that,
Okay.
which was time, space. But looking at it from a metaphysical or spiritual level, I want to take for just a moment and look at it. That though we've lived so long in a 3D world, that means that we have lived mostly a world based on what we see with our eyes,
Right.
what we hear with our ears, what we've learned outside of ourselves from religion and systems of education and whatever. That's the world we've built in here. That's the world out there.
Okay.
Where the world out there is the world that's in here.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at it from a metaphysical point of view, and this scripture comes to mind right now that talks about looking at some of the Old Testament stories as an example for us in the New
Yes,
Testament.
yes, yeah.
So let's just look a minute for the children of Israel who were in bondage for 430 years. Let's say they represent those who are in the bondage of a 3-dimensional world.
Okay.
Yeah. We're all kind of imprisoned in a world, in a way. A world that's told us this is how far we can go, this is who we can be and not be, and whatever. And we call that a simulated world, kind of the Matrix story.
The Matrix.
If you look at that movie, you'll kind of see we live in this third-dimensional Matrix world. But people are waking up, like I mentioned before, that there's this sovereign thing happening inside of humanity that's kind of an awakening that's making us uneasy about life that we thought was the one.
Right.
And now people are beginning to yearn and search. And the Bible says even groan
Grown. Yes.
with words that cannot be uttered. So that's kind of going on at the same time. So the children of Israel needed something to move them out of that complacency. And I feel the same way about us. We've become so adapted to the limitations of our 3D world that we go to church and spiritual and religious things and talk about someday it's going to be better.
Yeah.
Someday, on
happy
church,
day.
in the by and by, when I die and go to heaven, and all of that kind of thing. So we've become so complacent that we're kind of stuck in this 3D world. We have a greater vision, but we're not doing anything about it.
Right.
So now, spirit, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is starting to set some things into our path that's going to make us move on whether we want to or not. And that was old Pharaoh. Pharaoh was,
Yeah.
God hardened the heart of Pharaoh
Right.
to say, enough of this, get out.
Yeah.
So he wasn't the enemy. He actually was a driver that was driving him out of this complacency. So I won't get into it, but we got some characters now in the world that some of us don't like, that we don't agree with the politics or this, that, and another. But I'm telling you, it's all got a spiritual background to it,
does,
that
yes.
is getting ready to drive us out of our sleep and complacency.
Wake us up.
That's right. Now, they didn't just get out of there and go right over into Canaan land for the milk and
No, they
honey.
didn't.
There was something in between called the desert experience. And the desert experience was 4D. As they moved out of 3D, they moved into 4D. And this is the place in which they had to deal with their issues.
Where they were. Yes.
They had to heal themselves
Yes.
of their 3D before they could move into the next level. We're going to go 5D.
Karmic death.
There's 4D. They were still men of war. They were mad.
Yes.
I mean, if you'd been in slavery for all that year, you'd come out too not so happy. But the story is, well, you can't take that with you into the land. That's all got to be cleared. So it took them a generation of people. You know, I'm not saying the story is literal, but if you metaphorically see it, that we just been going around and around and around and around and around long enough. And so as they kind of lost all their third dimensional unfinished business out in the desert, then those that were able then moved over into the land. Now, in fourth dimension, what happens is polarity. Everything becomes intensified. And that's exactly what we're seeing.
It is.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember that whether you were a Democrat or a Republican, we still worked together. I mean, we worked together for the good of America, even though we disagreed. Not anymore. I mean, this has become so intensified that it's frightening.
Yeah. It's
What's
like,
going on?
how can I block you?
Yeah, yeah. So I think what's happening is all of our pathologies are emerging upon the body politic. All the stuff that we have neglected, that we've not done, healed, and taken care of. We got stuff to heal from what we did to the Native Americans, the African Americans, gay people. All this kind of stuff that is in our pathology is emerging in this 4D world so that we can clear it, heal it, and take care of it. Then we become initiates to move into a better new earth.
And that's fifth dimension.
And that's fifth dimension to me.
That's a wonderful. Great explanation.
Thank you.
That's fun. Thank you.
Your Academy for Spirit.